Hello, Wattpad, Fopunker here, bringing you the first ever episode of the Wattpad Ambassador Review Podcast. Today's inaugural episode will feature a little excerpt from the story Ruined by Mander Pander. Today's review comes from an anonymous reviewer who notes that the world building in the story is very strong, and that she also enjoyed the characters, noting that the main character is very fascinating as they are completely mysterious and unreliable. The author of the story has also mentioned that this book was inspired by Attack on Titan, so for anime fans this may be especially interesting. The reviewer, however, notes that there are some similarities to Percy Jackson, so the appeal here should be pretty good for just about anyone. So without further ado, let's have a little reading, shall we? Avery's heart pounded in her ears, a painful, deafening noise that caused the ink of her pen to stagger across the paper. Normally, the beautiful woman of 28 years excelled in maintaining control of her nerves. It was something she took pride in. The conquering of emotional states such as fear, or heartbreak, or rage was not an easy feat. However, tonight was not the case, because as Avery Vaughn had taken her leave from the Marble Castle, she'd come to a realization. She had just made a terrible mistake. Now they were going to come for her and the rest of Troop 365. At present, it was time for the 5 of them to abandon their project of several years. She and her squad mates had done all the legwork, and now they would have to leave the rest of their children. She could only hope that little Kyler Kendrick wasn't as incompetent as the mediocre man that was her father. It would be ideal, she thought, as she scribbled frantically on her note, if my son has taken after me in terms of intelligence. The wind whistled past her window, startling her head upright. Time was running thin. She read the sheet of paper over quickly, making sure she hadn't forgotten anything. Her fingers trembled around the edges as she strode into the living room where her husband sat beneath a dim, yellow lamp, an unfolded book propped in his lap. She creased the note and placed it on the arm of the chair. "Don't read it," she said. And she knew that he wouldn't, because he was a pathetically honest man who found delight in pleasing his wife. "Oh?" he asked with intrigue, grinning. "Why give me a letter if not to have me read it?" "This is for Kyler," she said sternly. She didn't have time to erect her flirtatious, enthusiastic facade. "Give it to him when you feel that something big is coming." "Like what?" "That is for you to decide," she mumbled, turning on her heel. "Tomorrow morning, take the boy with you when you go grocery shopping." "Why?" "He's only 6. I don't like it when you leave him alone," she lied. As usual, the simple man suspected nothing. "If that'll put your heart at ease, sure." She had nothing more to say to him, so she hurried through the hut, slinking into the bedroom to her left. His bedtime had been over 2 hours earlier, but when she entered, she noticed the bundle of blankets shift atop the mattress. "Kyler," she whispered. Due to the lump beneath his pillow, she could tell he'd shoved something rectangular, a book most likely, and something cylindrical, a handheld lamp, underneath. He stirred convincingly, and a pair of massive, glimmering blue eyes fluttered open. "Mama?" he said in a groggy manner that would have fooled anyone but her. "Were you reading, Kyler?" she asked, raising her brow. "No," he mumbled. "Too sleepy." Avery's lip lifted into a smirk. Suddenly, she wasn't as concerned for Kyler as she'd originally been. "You have my eyes, darling," she murmured, combing her fingers through his dark, silky hair. Sparkling, feminine eyes. Deceitful eyes. "Mama?" "Use those eyes to your advantage. Remember this as you search for the truth." She leaned over him, settling her thin pink lips against his forehead. When it came to Kyler, a boy of intelligence beyond his years, she didn't have to simplify her language. People are easiest to sway when they're confused. "Mama, are you going somewhere?" "I am," she said quietly. "Why?" "Because I've discovered something. Something about the ruins. Something Very dangerous. His enormous blue eyes widened even further. What? Something that you cannot possibly comprehend until you grow older, my love, she whispered. In due time, you'll come to unearth all that I have myself. He no longer seemed to care about that. Are you coming back soon? He asked. I don't think so. Why not? Avery grimaced, turning towards the door. Because, she breathed so he couldn't hear. I believe that I'm going to die. And once again, that was just a little bit from Ruined by Mander Pander. If you've enjoyed this little excerpt, please go ahead and head on over to her profile and finish reading that story. I'm sure she would appreciate it. And remember, we always like to pass on information on things that we've found that we've liked. So if you've come across any stories that you've especially enjoyed, please feel free to stop by any of the Wattpad genre pages and leave reviews of your own. Once again, this has been the inaugural Wattpad Ambassador Review Podcast. Thanks for listening.